Guys, I'm so excited to do this review on Sinners because, oh man, my father was a blues singer from Jackson, Mississippi, McKinley Mitchell. You can look him up if you like. And he migrated to Chicago in 1958. And in Chicago, he met someone who he became really great friends with, and that man is Sam Cooke, who too was born in Clarksdale, Mississippi, and his family migrated to Chicago when he was like 3 years old. And so I wish that my father or Sam Cooke was still alive to where I could kind of like have a discussion with them about what their thoughts are on this film and just the topic of blacks migrating from Mississippi to Chicago, especially those who were in search of a better life and a dream. Another reason why this film resonates with me as well, because in 2012 I wrote a short film called Viewpoint Blues, and then in 2018 I wanted to turn the film into a series, so I did a concept trailer, and then we started working on the first episode. However, we completed the concept trailer, but we did not complete the first episode. But I found it so amazing that this film had many of the exact same elements that I had in my film. Although my film was a murder mystery, this film is a vampire, and mine is set in Louisiana, but we even had a guitar sound. I was just like, oh, this is my type of film right here. So I really, really was happy to watch this, and I'm happy to review it. So let's get into my thoughts. So Sinners is the I say it's a film about duality, about good and bad, yin and yang, the blessed versus the cursed, the light versus dark, right? It also, to me, is like a extended music video of Robert Johnson's album. And I say that because you can take almost every character, almost every song, and relate it to each other, right? Or every event and relate it to something that happened in Robert Johnson's life. So I can definitely see how Ryan Coogler used the story of Robert Johnson, the blues singer. I'm sure all of you have watched these reviews by now. You know who Robert Johnson is. But the story of him giving his soul to the devil and all this stuff. So I'm gonna try to see how I can break this down and merge the two. It's so much stuff to cover, and I don't know where to start. So I'm gonna start with smoke and stats. So for me, because you see the red and blue, like the Matrix, the red and blue pill, which one will you choose? To be honest with you, if you think about the crossroads song, I think that's what they represent. They're the manifestation of crossroads. Like I believe that Smoke and Stacks represents Sammy's crossroads, right? Because he has to decide. He has to decide which person he would like to follow advice, whose advice he would like to follow. Because throughout the whole movie, you see Smokes, he gives you like this furious styles from Boys in the Hood, where he's given, like when he gives the little girl like how to negotiate and how he carries himself. He's very reserved, but he don't play. He don't play. He's about his business, but he is still more calmer, blue like water, just calm. Where you have Stax, who is the person that gave Sammy the guitar. He reminds me of every pimp that you've ever seen in a black exploitation film. He likes women, he likes money, he lies, he has his mouth is a little fresh, as they would say back in the day. He's a little disrespectful. I mean, you could see that when he was saying F your wife to Cornbread. Although he's joking, most men ain't gonna, during that time, it's not gonna talk like that. I know this is probably gonna throw people off by me comparing them, like they are a faucet streaming out water. This is gonna sound crazy, but water gives you life. And when you look at a faucet, you can do the red or the blue. There's a red dot, there's a blue dot, right? So that's how I comprehended who they were. And that they are the same person, Eliza and Elijah. The same name, meaning, but it's different languages. Just like a faucet, the same water comes out that faucet, but you have the option to go hot or cold. And that is the metaphor of the crossroads, which is a Robert Johnson song. Now let's get into Annie. Now, before I say anything, let me tell y'all something, y'all hoodoo and voodoo women or men, y'all don't come for me. I'm just doing a review, and I'm going based off of my Louisiana background and things that I know. So if I say something in this particular review that's going to insult you, please don't be trying to put no hexes on me. I'm just doing a review. Y'all going on with that? But anyway, so Annie embodies the song "Come On in My Kitchen." And in that song, I'm going to read here. In the song, there's a reference to the nation sack, which is a mojo bag that's worn around a woman's waist, symbolizing her sexual power and her ability to hold a man close. It's a lucky charm in a way, right? So when I was watching the film, I was like, now, she dies in the end, right? But where was her mojo bag? Why would she not have a mojo bag, but he had it? But because I found out that the woman gives the mojo bag to the man to keep him safe and to keep him with her, she gave her mojo bag to him because she loved him. Now, I would have made two. That's just me. Because if I die, he's still gonna be with somebody else anyway. I would have made two. I'm sorry, sis. We would have made two. But anyway, so in the Robert Johnson song, when he sings about taking the last nickel from a woman's nation sack, it means the luck. He's taking the charm. And now that it's the last nickel, his luck has run out. She's tired of him, right? The "Come On in My Kitchen," I thought it was very clever, very, very clever that he made Annie the cook. So I related those two things together. Y'all can let me know if y'all agree with that or not, but that's what I got from that. And now this is why I say the hoodoo people don't come for me. So there's a part in the film where Smoke says to her, "Since this kept me safe, why it didn't save our baby?" Right? And I kept saying, why was that such an important line? Because anytime you see something in the film, there's a reason. And I realized that was an important line because, well, I'm not gonna say I realized, I assume. Now, remember in Eve's Bayou, the aunt, she was a seer. So every time she would get married, her husband would die. And in a way, it was like her life was cursed. And back in the day, again, I'm from Louisiana, and my granny and some of the elder women would say, when people practice, if they're using their gifts to curse other people, right? If they're cursing other people and they're doing all this stuff, they are cursing their lives, and they knock 10 years off of their life, or they're cursing their bloodline. And based on that theory, I'm not saying it's true. Y'all don't come for me. But based on that theory, from what the elders in Louisiana would say, maybe she was cursed, her womb was cursed. Just like old girl from East Bayou. Her love life was cursed, and maybe Annie's bearing children, that was cursed. I don't know. Just an assumption. Again, I'm just doing a review. Now let's get into Sammy. So Sammy wore yellow and brown. And those who follow me know how I like to break down the colors. And Sammy was the star, right? He was the Grego, but he, in essence, was the star. And he also had on the brown. You want someone to listen to you? Wear brown. And yellow also mean expression. So when he started strumming this cursed guitar, because this guitar was cursed, because remember, Stax gave him the guitar from their father, and he was an evil man, all right? So when he started strumming this guitar, he broke the veil. And when that roof burned down and the whole walls of this juke joint burned down, of course, you know what came to mind. Anybody that grew up in the 80s and 90s knew the song by what's that group? I want to say, I don't know, Funk Scott and the Dynamic Three, but I know they said this in Crush Groovin'. They also said this in House Party. I think Eddie Murphy had it in the movie, and so did what's that guy name? Chris Rock. And that's the roof, the roof, the roof is on fire. We don't need no water. Right? Anytime you heard that, you knew that the party was banging. Nobody was gonna leave because you was having fun. As soon as you heard that DJ come on the mic and start chanting that, we don't need no water. Let it burn because we having a good time. So because he's strumming this guitar and he's conjuring up these positive spirits, of course he was going to attract the vampires because they were negative spirits. They were the walking dead, the living dead. And he was conjuring up the dead. Once you open up a portal to something, you don't know what's going to come through. Now, once Remick appeared at the juke joint, I instantly thought about the song Hellbound on My Trail. Because when you look at what a vampire is, they're almost like, when they turn, they look like dogs. They look like savages because of their fangs, you know? And yeah, that song represents the Hellbounds on My Trail for me. But let's talk about Remick for a second, because I kept trying to figure out who Remick was, what that name meant. And it dawned on me. So, Remick represents America. All you have to do is remove that K, remove that M, and add an A, and you have America. And it made me think about Stranger Things when the young lady, I think it was season 4, and her name, the little sister, name was Erica, and she said, you can't spell America without the name Erica. And I was like, Remick, it has the same cadence. So Remick represents America. And you see that because America is a melting pot, and he wanted to create his own nation. He wanted to suck the essence of all the people, all the different races. He represented America, even to the point of, notice how he only gave the coins to the Klan's family and Mary. And by him giving that money to just those particular people, it shows how he selected who he wanted to empower, even in his destruction. Another thing that I saw was the Choctaw Indians, how the Choctaw Indians were chasing him. And initially, again, listen, I'm only doing a review and I'm only doing what I know. So when I initially saw the Choctaw Indians chasing him, I was like, why are they chasing him? But once I realized he was Irish, I said, oh, well, maybe they chasing him because, you know, Irish people were slaves. And it is historically known that there were 5 tribes, and the Choctaw Indians were one of the 5 tribes during slavery that were kind of forced. Let me point that out. They were kind of forced into owning slaves for civilization purposes because some of the Europeans were marrying into their culture. And then some of them, the poorer ones, were forced into doing slave patrol or slave catching. So I thought, well, maybe that's what Ryan Coogler was doing for this. And then I said, but no, because the Choctaw people, once they were ran out of that area, because they were done wrong, right? Once they were ran out of the area, they did start helping Black slaves, Black Americans, and they did start helping the Irish, especially the poor Irish, after they were indentured servants. Let's point that out, because the Irish were indentured servants and they were able to get out of slavery. Black Americans were not. We were cattle slavery. They were indentured servants. 2 totally different things, right? But Irish were treated poorly, just, nonetheless. So the Choctaw people tried to help them. So I said, well, what if, because when, what's his name? Remick goes to the clan people's home, he says, they killed my wife. And the devil, he gonna tell you some truth within the lie. He's crying that they killed my wife. They killed my wife. They're trying to kill me. What if he came to the Choctaw tribe knowing that they had good hearts, open hearts, knowing that they had helped his kind, meaning the Irish people before, to trick them, to try to turn them to create more of his nation, right? And once they realized, oh, these some vampires, let me go ahead and shut this down real quick. And they probably did kill his wife. So I wanted to touch on that spitting that Klansman did on the floor, and the spitting that was coming out their mouth, and the spitting that Mary did into Stack's mouth, is a curse of some sort or a bonding thing, right? You can use fluids to bond people, right? But to spit on that floor in a warehouse, what is Hogsworth, that said two things to me. One, I don't give a damn about your floors, and I don't have no respect for you. And two, I curse whatever that's gonna happen, your progress, right? So spitting was believed to carry a piece of a person's life force, an act of protection and defiance against dark forces sometimes, but it also connects you. And when Mary and Stacks were having sex and she spits in his mouth, that lets me know he was gonna die anyway. I mean, we kind of figured that, but she had a connection, a bond with him. The whole thing with the baptism scene. Now, I'm gonna say this. When the film The Book of Clarence came out, people were like, oh, this movie is blasphemous. The Christians, don't go see this. Don't go see this, right? I watched the movie. The movie wasn't blasphemous at all. It was awesome. But this particular scene for me, I would have to say the baptism, it was a little blasphemous in a way, because Remick dunked Sammy's head in that water 3 times. That symbolizes the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. When Sammy started praying the Our Father prayer, him and all the other vampires started praying with him. Now, I started thinking, and I had to write this down. Why would Remick say your prayer's not gonna work? They use that to get my people too. That is another form of letting us know that Christianity was used to enslave people. But it also brought to mind how when you pretend to have Christ in your heart, sometimes your prayers will go unanswered. And I say that because what was truly in Sammy's heart was his music. It was not religion. So, of course, his prayers were not going to work, because in the Bible it says you must have faith as small as a mustard seed. And in the end, when he goes back to his father, the symbolism there, you see the 3 crosses, which also represents the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, just like the dunking in the water. And his father says, put that guitar down. And Sammy does not put the guitar down, but we see him traveling. When he grabs the guitar handle, he puts it to his heart, because his heart was not with Christ. His heart was with music. His love for music overpowered anything he was taught in Christianity. And that's what I got from this film. There are so many other things. Like I said, I could go down all of Robert Johnson's song and relate them to almost every character in this film. every element of this man's life, in addition to his song titles and the topics that was in his song. All of that was displayed. I'm telling you, for me, this movie was a big music video for his album and his life story. I hope you guys like my review. I really want to do the rest of it, but this review getting long and my throat getting dry. I'm getting tired. But I hope I cover some things that you guys agree with. And if you don't agree, you can also say something to what you don't agree with and give me some details. Again, Choctaw people, much love to you, much respect, right? And Hoodoo Pitbull, much love to you, much respect. Don't put nothing on me, okay? I am a Christian though. Don't put nothing on me. Don't do that. I ain't got time for that. But I got much love for you guys and much respect for everyone. So I hope this review didn't offend anyone and that you thoroughly enjoyed it. So thank you.